Is the pilot car business saturated? Is there a situation where there are less loads than there are pilot car drivers? A couple of you brought this up as a situation. If the pilot car business is oversaturated, that means too many pilot car drivers are out there. The rates in the pilot car business will drop. If there is too much supply of a commodity or service, then the price of that commodity or service will go down. But the rates are not dropping. In fact, ATS just raised their price for lead and chase cars from $1.75 to $1.80. And large brokers like JLS Pilot Car Service is paying $1.85 for a lead and a chase. I'm sitting right now in Kansas, and I will have tomorrow a load that will pay me $1.90 for a lead, and the chase car will also get $1.90 per mile. Frankly, this does not look like a problem of too many pilot car drivers being in the business. And I personally think right now it's a very good time to get into the business. If you want a fast track to get started as a pilot car driver, then watch my free webinar called 3 Ways to a 6-Figure Income as a Pilot Car Driver Without Asking Anyone for a Favor. And you will learn 3 important ways how to get business as a pilot car driver. Plus, you will find out about my course that will teach you how to start your pilot car career as a pro. You probably have asked yourself the question, how many pilot car drivers are actually here in the US? Truthfully, there is no federal agency that actually, tracks pilot car business or pilot car trips across the US. The whole thing is operating on a state level, and every state is doing their own thing. There is very little cooperation between the states when it comes to pilot cars. Now, if any of you have any idea how to figure this out better, or have better ideas or better sources, do let me know. I answer comments always as fast as I can. So what did I do? I did a Google search, and per that search, there were in 2024 3,000 pilot cars on the road in the US. Google didn't say how they came up with that figure. I also contacted ODS North America, which is the largest pilot car broker firm in the US, and they said they have about 2,000 companies, pilot car companies in their register, and it's basically what that means. It's either one car or more cars. It doesn't mean there are 2,000 cars. It means it's a minimum of 2,000 cars. And Pilot Car Load Board, like pilotcarloadboards.com, is saying there are 6,000 subscribers to the Pilot Car Load Board. Now, that figure also can't be really fully relied on, because maybe there are 6,000 people that subscribe to it, but are they working? Are they getting loads from the board? Now, the other way to look at this whole sector is by looking at the oversized load companies. And there is a reference. The Federal Motor Carrier and Safety Association says they have 12,000 companies that are engaging in oversized loads that require a pilot car service. And how they do this is by basically judging their trailers. If a trailer is multi-axle, has a certain amount of axles, then there is a higher likelihood that pilot cars need to be attached to a trailer like that. So that's how they came up with 12,000 companies. However, that is also not really correct, which I found out, because one company can only be one truck and one trailer, but there are quite a bunch of mega carriers amongst those oversized load transport companies or carriers. So here is what I found. For example, ATS has apparently 1,200 to 1,500 trailers, oversized load trailers. Landstar has 600. Bennett has 1,000. There's a company called Mammoth, that's a Dutch company, and they have in the US 500 trailers. And then there's Combined Transport, they have 800, and Admiral Merchants has 500. So that in total, you take like these 12,000 companies for the FMCSA, the Federal Motor Carrier and Safety Association. They have 12,000 companies, and then there are basically these mega carriers that add up to about 5,000 trailers. So you can wind up with a minimum of 17,000 rigs. So while not all of them need pilot cars, the difference between the estimated pilot cars and those oversized load carriers is gigantic. Now the next thing you could say, well, how are they doing, these oversized load companies? Are any of them closing, or how is that scene actually looking? In fact, per Google, the demand is rising. Basically what Google is saying is that demand is rising due to the infrastructure AI energy projects. Basically, per them, it all comes down to the AI data centers, Microsoft and Google. They are moving 250,000 pound size transformers all over the country. And then we have the Inflation Reduction Act from 2022, and per that, $370 billion were allocated to these kind of projects, which not only just means buying new roads and buying new bridges, but it also means revamping the whole energy grid. It means renewable energies, which is still a total factor in the whole system, and the AI data center type of activity. In short, this is an explosive demand. And I did take that up in an earlier video, and up there is a link. And also what that same search came up with on Google is that there is actually a steady increase of oversized load trucking demand that started in 2020, and between 2020 to now, there was a 20% increase in the delivery or production of the oversized load companies. I've put all this data in an article on my website, which includes all the references, so you can look this up yourself. So what does all these things mean? 1, it's the best time to get started. 2, it also means the loads are there. But if you find yourself in an area that doesn't have loads in the immediate surroundings, then find a trip, an oversized load trip, to an area that has a lot of traffic, or just simply deadhead there to that area and pick up loads from there and get going. 3, do not forget, many of these pilot car drivers are old. They are looking at retirement. Yours truly is 69 years old. I am the same way. I am not going to be forever in that. And many of them are in their 70s. In short, the doors are wide open. So what are you waiting for?